Why do we, as otherwise rational, educated people, look at a thin stick of wax, decide to light one end on fire, stick the other end in our ear canal, and genuinely believe that this is going to painlessly vacuum clean our head?
Or maybe almost choke ourselves to death on, like, a pint of olive oil because someone on the internet told us it was a good idea.
Exactly. That is the beautiful, terrifying mission today. We are taking a deep dive into the absolute worst ways people try to hack their health. We're unpacking a whole stack of popular treatments and scams.
Yeah, some are just, a complete waste of money.
Mm.
Annoying, but mostly harmless.
But others are genuinely terrifyingly dangerous. This is kind of the ultimate shortcut to understanding the highly lucrative landscape of health deception.
It's really important for you to realize that these hacks often succeed because they rely on a powerful illusion. They promise an easy out, right?
Right.
You see something happen, like a color change, or you feel maybe a tingling sensation, and you mistake that phenomenon for actual detoxification or healing.
So we're separating the harmless but completely absurd pranks from the really profitable deceptions that target people who are just desperate for a silver bullet.
Exactly. We need to know the difference.
Okay, let's unpack this. And we're starting with the classics, the ones that involve fire and a complete disregard for basic ear anatomy.
Ah, yes, ear candling, the OG.
We begin with ear candling. The theory here is pretty seductive, I admit. Lighting the candle creates heat and suction, which somehow vacuums all the impacted, nasty earwax right out of your ear canal and into the hollow candle.
And then the big reveal.
Then you cut the candle open, and bam, visual evidence. You see this gross brown residue inside, proving the process worked, or so they claim.
It looks like an undeniable success because you see that residue. It's very convincing visually. But here's the actual science. Doctors of audiology have done experiments.
Oh, yeah. What did they find?
They looked inside the ear before and immediately after candling, and they found absolutely zero difference in wax removal. None.
What's the brown gunk, then?
That wax, you see, it's just the residue from the candle itself. It's wax and soot from the burning candle.
You're kidding. So you're lighting fire next to your face for the express purpose of collecting candle soot.
Pretty much. You might want to save your money and definitely save your hair on that one.
Wow. Okay, moving from fire to rust, apparently. Because the next obsession is visual detoxing, starting with those foot pads.
Ah, the magic pads.
The pitch is compelling. You buy these pads, slap them on the soles of your feet overnight, and you wake up to find them totally blackened. Clearly, they pulled out all the poisons and heavy metals from your system while you slept.
That is exactly the chemical illusion at play. The black color is purely a chemical reaction.
A reaction to what? Your foot toxins.
Nope. It's often driven by ingredients in the pad itself, like bamboo vinegar powder, just interacting with moisture, sweat.
Wait, so?
You can literally pour water on the pads and they will turn black without even touching a human foot.
No.
This way, your skin's main job in sweating is refrigeration. It releases sodium and water to cool you down. It's not equipped with special detox pathways designed to act like some kind of magnet for heavy metals. That's just not how skin works.
Okay, so the pads are a bust, but what if you upgrade? What about the foot detox bath? That looks way more intense.
Ah, the full immersion experience.
You sit there, put your feet in a tub of water with an electrode, and within minutes, the water turns this horrifying, toxic-looking brownish sludge. The clinic claims it's pulling all the toxic waste straight out of your kidneys and liver right through your feet.
Right. Again, that is pure, simple chemistry, not biology, not detox.
So what's happening in the water?
When you add salt to that water, which you have to do for conductivity, the salt interacts with the electrode plates. They're usually made of iron or copper, and it creates rust. There's a process called electrolysis. It generates that same nauseating brown color, even if your feet are sitting safely on the floor next to the tub.
So you're basically paying someone to make rusty water in front of you.
Essentially, yes. The fact that people are paying sometimes hundreds of dollars for a self-induced, foot-based rust experiment, well, it really highlights the absurdity of these ineffective treatments.
Absolutely. Okay, let's transition now. We've covered the things you stick on or near your body. What happens when we start putting these questionable hacks inside our bodies?
This is where the risks really escalate.
And this next one, the gallbladder flush. It sounds intense and apparently comes with a severe, almost tragic warning.
This specific purge myth is acutely dangerous. The process usually involves drinking, get this, 12 ounces of straight olive oil.
A pint of olive oil, ugh.
Often chased down by beet tablets. And we have reports, serious ones, of people washing down those tablets with the oil, and the tablets actually solidified in their esophagus,
Oh my God.
nearly causing breathing failure. So the first, and honestly the most important piece of advice here is, do not attempt this seriously.
That is truly terrifying. And the reason the scam persists is because of what people see in the toilet afterwards, right? They see these floating green-brown masses they assume are their purged gallstones.
Yes, but this visual is the final layer of the deception. Real gallstones are dense, calcified, they sink.
Okay. So what are people seeing?
What you are actually seeing are floating pools of purged, solidified bile, often referred to as saponified fatty acid, basically soap, mixed with all that olive oil you drank.
So you've made soap in your gut.
Essentially, you've fleshed out essential digestive material you actually need, potentially leaving you bile deficient, which causes other problems.
So if someone is genuinely worried about gallbladder sludge or stones, what's the alternative to, nearly choking on half a bottle of oil?
A much better evidence-based approach for prevention, or for gently dissolving that sludge, is to actually support your bile flow. You could take a specific type of bile salt supplement, like TUDCA, on an empty stomach to help open up drainage pathways. Or you can simply take standard bile salts after a meal to aid in digestion and fat breakdown. That's prevention and support. The flush is just a physical hazard.
Got it. Speaking of internal disasters, let's talk about the infamous Master Cleanse. It sounds kind of healthy on paper, lemon juice, cayenne pepper.
Yeah, those parts aren't too bad.
But then they absolutely ruin it by adding enormous quantities of maple syrup. You're supposed to drink, what, a gallon of this mixture daily for several days?
Yes, and the master trap here is the sugar, all that maple syrup.
Why? I thought cleanses were about flushing things out.
Well, when you consume a gallon of that sugary mixture, the massive sugar load prevents your body from shifting into ketosis.
Wait, why is preventing ketosis so bad if I'm trying to cleanse? Isn't ketosis just for weight loss?
Ketosis is the metabolic state where your body starts burning stored fat for fuel instead of sugar. For people pursuing a deep cleanse or aiming for weight loss, shifting into ketosis is often the goal. It signals a deeper metabolic shift.
Oh, okay.
Because you keep spiking your blood sugar with all that maple syrup, you prevent that deeper cellular clean-out state. You stay in sugar-burning mode, which just leads to constant, miserable sugar cravings and energy crashes.
So it's basically a maple syrup-fueled blood sugar roller coaster, not really a cleanse.
Exactly. It's not effectively detoxifying the liver in the way people think. A much better, slower, more sustainable way to genuinely support the liver's natural detoxification pathways is just eating healthy whole foods.
Like what?
Particularly things like bitter greens and cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. They provide the actual compounds and enzymes the liver needs to do its job properly. No maple syrup required.
Makes sense. Next up, a real classic dietary myth, the blood type diets.
Oh, this one had a moment.
The theory goes that your blood type A, B, AB, O dictates your prehistoric nutritional needs. Like, type O should be eating like a hunter-gatherer, lots of meat, low carbs. Type A needs a strict vegetarian diet.
It's a beautifully packaged theory, isn't it? It sounds plausible because blood types do relate to some immune system differences. That part's true. But when medical scientists actually look for credible research connecting blood type to digestive efficiency or specific nutritional needs, the cupboard is bare. There's nothing solid there.
So blood type doesn't really affect how you digest steak versus salad.
Nope. Blood types are about antigens on your red blood cells influencing immunity, transfusions. They have essentially nothing to do with what foods you digest best.
But hang on, I know people who swear they felt better when they tried their blood type diet. How do you explain that feeling of success?
It's simple, really, because the recommendations, regardless of whether you're supposedly type AB, AB, or O, are universally centered around whole foods. If you switch from a standard modern diet, heavy in refined sugars, processed grains, seed oils, and general junk food, to any diet consisting entirely of minimally processed, clean ingredients, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, you are going to feel dramatically better. Period. It has nothing to do with your blood type.
So the scam isn't the diet itself, it's the branding. They trick you into eating healthy by making it sound like exclusive, personalized, ancient science based on your blood.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's brilliant marketing, you have to admit.
Okay, let's jump into some modern tech scams. These feel a bit more recent. We have the fantasy of the ab belt.
The instant six-pack machine.
Well, this comes in two main flavors. The belt that just makes you sweat a lot around your middle, or the 10NS unit belt that gives you electric stimulation, making your muscles twitch. Both promise to find abs without ever having to, do a sit-up or leave the couch.
I hate to break it to anyone still optimistically wearing one, but neither excessive sweating nor passive muscle stimulation is going to remove internal fat.
And that's the bad stuff, right? The visceral fat.
That's the dangerous stuff, yes. The fat that surrounds your organs. You have to actually do the work exercise, control your diet to target and reduce that fat. Making your surface muscles twitch a bit while you watch TV just doesn't cut it.
Okay, have belts out. What about the ultimate failure of basic physics? The EMF blocker sticker.
Oh, the magic stickers. Yes.
This is usually a tiny, sometimes quite aesthetically pleasing sticker you place on the back of your cell phone. And it's supposed to block or somehow nullify all the harmful electromagnetic frequency radiation coming from the phone.
The only appropriate scientific response to this claim is, well, laughter. A sticker cannot block EMF waves.
Why not? Sounds fancy.
They are electromagnetic energy. They pass right through thin layers of paper, plastic, or whatever the sticker is made of. If you genuinely wanted to block the transmission from your phone, you'd need a substantial layer of solid metal all around it, like wrapping it completely in tinfoil.
Which would, of course, stop the phone from working at all.
Exactly. It wouldn't be able to send or receive signals. So these stickers, they do absolutely nothing to the EMF fields.
So they are essentially selling you the protective power of a decorative bumper sticker for, like, $50.
Pretty much. Save your money on that one, definitely.
And finally, before we pivot to the absolute most costly and frankly serious issue we uncovered, let's quickly address carb blockers. Right, the eat pasta and lose weight pills.
They claim to allow you to keep eating pasta, bread, potatoes, whatever, while still losing weight, usually using something like a white bean extract.
This is a scam defined by incredibly low effectiveness and a pretty unpleasant trade-off. Carb blockers work by inhibiting the enzyme that breaks down starches, but only starches, not sugar.
Okay, so how well do they inhibit starches?
To a tiny, tiny degree, maybe 2% inhibition at best. It just slightly slows down that enzyme.
Wait, only 2% effectiveness? That is barely worth the cost of the capsule itself, let alone the time it takes to swallow it.
Precisely. And the trade-off. It could be quite uncomfortable.
What happened?
That small percentage of undigested starch moves further down into your digestive tract, into the small intestine, where your native gut microbes immediately get to work fermenting it.
Oh.
The main byproduct of that microbial feast is gas, which leads to pretty immediate and often very uncomfortable bloating and flatulence.
So let me get this straight. You're paying for maybe a 2% reduction in starch absorption, and you get a 100% chance of significant bloating as a bonus.
That about sums it up. It's a very expensive and generally unpleasant experiment in minor enzyme inhibition. You'd probably need, 9 bottles of the stuff to make a dent in the starch from a single donut, and you wouldn't enjoy the aftermath.
Right. Okay, now, we really must shift gears. We've been discussing, cheap chemical tricks, silly stickers, ineffective pills, mostly low-stakes stuff, besides the olive oil fiasco.
Yeah, mostly targeting your wallet.
But our sources highlight one area, one treatment, as potentially the absolute most dubious, not because it's a home hack, but because it's a mainstream accepted medical treatment that generates enormous amounts of money and relies on what is now considered fundamentally flawed science.
This is the critique directed at certain common psychiatric medications and, even more controversially, electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT.
Let's start with the medications. What's the issue there?
Regarding many common antidepressants, the very foundation, the underlying theory that depression is primarily caused by a simple serotonin chemical imbalance in the brain has been recently and pretty definitively debunked by large-scale meta-analyses and reviews of decades of research.
Hold on. Debunked. So we have a multi-billion-dollar global industry based on treating a chemical imbalance that studies now show doesn't actually exist in the simple way we've been told for decades.
That is the crux of the issue, according to recent scientific reviews. Furthermore, the measurable effectiveness of many of these psychiatric drugs in clinical trials is often found to be surprisingly close to placebo outcomes, especially for mild to moderate depression.
And the side effects?
The side effects can be significant. Emotional blunting, that common feeling people describe as being a zombie, weight gain, sexual dysfunction, and critically, the high potential for addiction and dependency.
Addiction, like street drug addiction.
Physical dependence. Many of these drugs can lead to physical dependence within just a couple of weeks of regular use. This makes stopping them extremely difficult, often involving unpleasant withdrawal symptoms, regardless of whether they actually helped the underlying mood issue in the first place.
Wow. Okay. And then there's ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. The source material notes this procedure is a huge financial driver.
It generates roughly $280 million annually in the U.S. alone. The controversy here stems from several points. Doctors who champion it for severe depression often cannot actually explain why inducing a seizure sometimes offers temporary improvement. The precise biological mechanisms remain unknown.
They don't know how it works, but it makes nearly $300 million a year.
That's the situation. They also tend to downplay potential long-term cognitive side effects, like memory loss, which many patients report. And perhaps the most disturbing detail our sources highlight is that it is sometimes administered without full informed consent, particularly to vulnerable populations like elderly patients in hospice care who may be deemed unable to make decisions for themselves.
That is a colossal financial commitment, $280 million a year, for a treatment where the how is unknown. The effectiveness is often limited and temporary, and its use sometimes raises very serious ethical red flags about consent.
What's really remarkable here when you step back is the sheer difference in scale and acceptance. We went from discussing a $20 ear candle scam, which most people recognize as silly, to a medical procedure generating hundreds of millions of dollars, based on treating a condition whose foundational theory has been scientifically challenged.
So ECT is arguably the biggest hack of all, in a way.
In terms of the financial investment versus the known science and ethical questions, you could certainly make that argument. It makes the ear candle look utterly quaint in comparison.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate all this?
Well, the key pattern we keep seeing again and again is that the easy solution, the sticker, the rusty foot bath, the magic pill, even the heavily marketed medical procedure, almost always promises a complex result. Things like true internal detoxification, effortless weight loss, or even a deep neurological cure.
Without requiring any actual change, right?
Exactly. Without requiring any real change in diet, lifestyle, stress management, or critical self-evaluation. They are all marketed as substitutes for the sometimes harder, slower work of achieving genuine health and well-being.
We started this deep dive wondering about the simple, almost comedic absurdity of lighting a candle on fire next to our own head to fix our ears.
Seems so minor now, doesn't it?
It does. We ended on a professional accepted medical treatment that, despite its questionable scientific basis, its unknown mechanism, and its enormous cost, is still widely administered, often justified by treating a chemical imbalance theory that major reviews say doesn't hold water anymore.
It's quite the spectrum.
It really is. So here's the final thought. If treatments that are known chemical tricks, like foot pads, are sold for $20, and treatments based on recently challenged or debunked theories can generate hundreds of millions of dollars within the established medical system, what truly defines a health hack or a scam in our modern world? Which deception is ultimately more dangerous? The one that just hurts your wallet, or the one that might actually hurt your mind or body under the guise of legitimate care?